Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
Just keeps going. I guess the CBS is going to air this a second time coming up this Friday. If you didn't watch it, you could watch it then.
All in the sake of news, right?
Piers Morgan
CBS.
apparently lost his job over this. He was so offended by what she said about the royal family. He's sticking up for the royal family.
And I understand that you...
Now, this is his co-host kind of berating him a little bit, and he got pissed off, and he ends up walking off the set. Now, over there, radio and TV is much different than it is here. Like, they have one TV, they have one radio, they have one...
I believe it's a little bit different now. I think there's a few different sources.
Okay, but this was Good Morning Britain or whatever the hell it is. This is a really big show. This is like bigger than the Today Show, but it's kind of on the same, realm, and... he's obviously Piers Morgan is somebody we all know here. I mean, if you don't, then he was on CNN. He's done a number of things, and now he's gone back to his heritage of being Brit, and he was there for a number of years. And this is a really big show, and he just took it a little personal and ended up quitting his job over this whole thing, which is crazy to me. But here's
don't like
what
Meghan
happened.
Markle. You've made it so clear a number of times on this program. And I understand that you've got a personal relationship with Meghan Markle, or had one, and she cut you off. She's entitled to cut you off. Has she said anything about you since she cut you off? I don't think she has, but yet you continue to trash her.
Okay, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no. Sorry.
Do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can trash me, maybe not my
No.
See you later.
I'm being...
Sorry, can't do
This
this.
is absolutely diabolical behaviour.
God, I just want to punch that guy in the face. And that would have made it great TV if he would have walked over there and just smacked that guy in the face.
Which
the
one?
guy that was talking. The guy that was up in his grill. That would have been good entertaining
Also,
TV.
it would have been good
That's trashy
entertaining TV.
That's trashy American TV.
It would have been good TV as well if Piers Morgan would have answered the question instead of just wimped out.
I guess he went on a diatribe the day before, and that guy was responding to it.
Right.
And
No,
he
I
was just
understand.
saying it was an embarrassment to the... I watched some of it, and he was pretty much saying...
I tend to agree with Piers Morgan. I mean, you have to look at the intentions of the people that are delivering the message, okay, and take it into consideration, okay. Like, Meghan Markle is an actress. She's an actress that really hasn't worked for a while. Not that she needs to, because she's
she married
into the right family. But then they start up a production company, and the production company is, I think they were developing podcasts or something like that.
That's what it is.
And I mean, it made some waves when it first came about, but how do you draw more attention to your struggling production company? Well, you get an interview with Oprah. Get that interview with Oprah, and then you start levying claims against the royal family
To get people talking about
the fact that there was skin color that was brought up.
Well, she pretty much said in so many words that her son could never be next in line because he's not a white Brit.
Yeah, which I don't know. Nobody knows what that conversation was. They weren't there. I wasn't there and all that stuff. But I do know the lineage of the royals makes it impossible for them to be, for the kids, for Harry even for that matter, to be like a king.
Yeah, because William
or anything like
his
that.
kids are next in line.
Yes.
Yeah. So really, there wasn't even a door for them to go through to do this, anyways. So for them to make this allegation is a bit of a stretch.
That's why it was always jokes with women or girls our age when they would fantasize about marrying a prince. It was always going to be William and not Harry, because William had the
line.
direct path to the throne, where Harry has nothing. He has nothing. So I mean, for them, I mean, that comes into play as well. So, I mean, and nobody knows what these conversations were like.
Remember, she disowned her family. She said that she hadn't seen her sister in 20 years. Her sister said, no, I just saw her. I got pictures. So there's a little bit of weirdness going on there. Her dad started talking. He apparently got into a thing with her because he did something with the tabloids back when they were getting married, and she's still mad. He says he hasn't talked to her in 4 years.
I've been pushed around and knocked down for one thing I did, for one big mistake I made. And I've apologized for it as many times as I possibly can. However, I love my daughter very much.
He also talked about this race thing.
The thing about what color will the baby be or how dark will the baby be, I'm guessing and hoping it's just a dumb question from somebody. It could just be that simple. It could be somebody asked a stupid question rather than being a total racist.
Anyways, I think you nailed it on the nose. This is just them trying to get publicity to talk about their new podcast channel, and they're kind of dragging the family through it. I don't know. I'm going to try to watch this thing. I tried to find it online. It's a bit protective right now because they want to re-air it. So CBS is going to re-air it on Friday, and you can watch it there. And even though I don't even care about this, but now I'm intrigued. Now I want to know a little bit more.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Things we didn't get to in hashtag form with Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
Hashtag, why didn't somebody just chase it away? Give this a listen.
I have to warn you, Bob, things could get a little, this is a weird, wild stuff. We have a Goose is in center field. Talk to me, Goose.
Hey,
it is positioned right behind.
Weird stuff.
So, weird, wild stuff.
Wild,
weird stuff.
Well, it must have been a wild goose.
Yeah, so there's a Canadian goose, gander. I don't know what you call it. It's hanging out behind the center fielder between the Chicago Cubs and the Arizona Diamondbacks in Arizona during a spring training game. But the funny thing is, he's standing right behind the center fielder.
Behind Rafael Ortega, the center fielder.
A bonus for the bird watchers here in attendance today.
Who knew? It's spring training baseball and some ornithology.
Rafael Ortega doesn't do anything to get the goose away. Like, he could just be like, hey, shoo, goose.
Well, sometimes they attack you.
Have you ever been? I know. Believe me, I know.
I'm going to avoid that son of a gun. What are you going to do?
You are a big, manly center fielder for the Chicago Cubs.
People will take you down. Cancel culture. He killed the goose. He attacked the goose.
How dare he
goose
prey?
Is just wild.
How dare he prey on a harmless animal?
Jerk came along and built a stadium and played baseball in there. Poor
Have you
goose.
ever seen Randy Johnson explode a pigeon right across the home plate? It wasn't always so bird-friendly baseball.
Is that the word?
Good for me.
Better be. 1-1 on votes.
Ortega's keeping a close eye on that goose out there in center field. He doesn't want him to sneak up behind him.
That's gotta suck because you're like waiting for the guy to hit the ball, but then you're like, okay, now I have to not only navigate where the ball is going, navigate the outfield wall, but and also worry about this goose getting tangled up in my legs and tripping me. Why didn't you just go chase it off? Why didn't they stop the game? They usually stop the game when things like this happen and be like, okay, let's get this goose out of here. Make it for player safety, right? Player safety. It's all about player safety. But no, they just continue playing the game.
Well, as anyone who's played golf around here knows, they get defensive. If you hit one into the water hazard or near it, could get ugly.
Third pitch with the goose in the outfield now.
In fact, there was an altercation earlier
still,
in the ball
Goose
game.
is still out in the outfield.
And I believe our truck has that for you. 2-1 on votes. The Goose is playing a little deep in center.
Fourth pitch with the Goose in the outfield.
High one there, and it's 2-2.
How close is the Goose?
15 paces from Ortega. Now they do the split screen.
On Goose Cam.
This is how boring baseball can be. This is why I can't watch baseball.
This is why they did not tell the Goose to leave, because they're like, this is the most this is the most exciting thing that's happened in this game all day, guys. Keep the Goose out there.
You know, usually you get some pigeons. We go to San Francisco or back.
Goose is still hanging out there.
The seagulls and the whole thing. This is new for us.
We're 2 minutes into this now.
Stuff.
Yeah, we saw some Canada geese flying over before the game, but I didn't know they had tickets for the game.
He's like looking back nervously at the Goose. He doesn't know what to do. Like Major League Baseball should have a policy in place.
He's just waiting for the right moment to attack, and Ortega knows it. He's keeping a close eye on him. Probably wishes he had a rear-view mirror right now so he wouldn't have to turn around.
I'm begging for the Goose to attack him right now.
That's foul away.
Well, thank God it was a foul. You didn't have to chase down a ball with a goose.
Dude, if I was the guy at home plate,
I'm targeting. I'm going to hit one to center.
Hit one to Ortega.
Just hit one to Ortega.
It's
like why
going
wouldn't
to the
you?
driving range and trying to hit the cart.
And hopefully that Goose will come up and bite him right as he goes for the ball.
Or get tangled up underneath his feet, and you got a base hit.
Sure.
Extra base hit. Because then the left fielder's got to come over, the right fielder's got to come over. He's trying. Vought's trying to get it out there.
I think he's trying to talk. Just give me a little more room here. We mentioned the altercation earlier. This was... See, they can go at you if you're not careful.
They're showing the geese going after other geese. One of the geese bit another goose in flight and tore feathers from the other goose.
I guess that literally is good.
That's why Ortega's not doing anything to the goose, because he's like, dude, I just saw you take out one of your own.
Yeah, no
one of your own.
Well, apparently he's claimed his territory out there in center field, because when Ortega first broke on that ball that was hit to left field, the goose chased him for several steps.
Hashtag cancel culture. Disney Plus now jumping on board. They're taking out Peter Pan, Dumbo, and some of the aristocrats.
Why does he ask you? What's the engine in
The company says that Peter Pan, the film, portrays Native people in a stereotypical manner that reflects neither the diversity of Native peoples nor their authentic culture and traditions. It shows them speaking in an unintelligible language and repeatedly refers to them as Redskins. And so it will still be available for adults with a disclaimer, but they will be taking it off the kids menu. For
this
Disney
is
Plus.
all this does is draw more attention. Like I think cancel culture in general is not doing what it set out to do. Peter Pan's a pretty big movie. Dumbo's a pretty big movie, but the Aristocats, not that big of a movie. If you let Sleeping Dogs Lie, chances are people aren't going to watch it. Disney was doing a thing last year where they would roll out warnings before a movie played that said, hey, listen, what you just basically said. But now they're making this announcement that, I believe companies are smart enough to know if they make a big deal out of it, then people are going to seek it out and want to know what it's about. Thus for paying to get this content. Thus for, like, all publicity is good publicity, right?
Got to eat it up.
Thank you, Paula. But I mean, it's true. It's true. Doesn't it make you want to go watch Peter Pan and see where the references are? Doesn't it make you want to go get the Dr. Seuss book that you've never even heard of and be like, what are they talking about? So you got to go look and see what they're talking about. You want to see what the references are in Dumbo because it gets brought up? Is that what cancel culture wants? Is to draw more attention to something that is just laying underneath the surface? I don't know.
That's always what happens in these situations. Hashtag love, sex, and prenups. David Crosby, by the way, who a friend of mine ran into him at Lake Chuma a few weeks ago, just hanging out, having a burger there at the little restaurant. He apparently just sold his music library for a bunch of money.
He wasn't driving, was he?
No, he was sitting there.
Not much of a driver.
Sitting there at one of the tables. Yeah. He sent me a picture.
He lives in that area.
Yeah. Los Olivos, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, got interviewed by Rolling Stone magazine. He's got a new spread out there. You can check it out. Here's some of it.
So you're dreading having the talk with your son. He already knows, man. They learn all that stuff in high school from their buddies. Here's the thing. You need to be his parent, but you also need to be his friend. You have to be patient and take the time to talk to him about a lot of stuff. In the course of talking to him about life, you can sort of work your way into relationships with women.
Little advice for you, Jeff, on how to talk to your son about sex when that day comes.
I don't need.
He already knows.
I don't need that advice from a dude eating a burger on a picnic bench that your friend ran into.
It's a good burger, by the way. If you've ever been to Lake Kachuma, down there by the boat launch, it's a good burger.
Hey, if Dave Crosby's giving it an endorsement, I go try it, man. I think I could eat.
Anyways, you can look for that out in Rolling Stone magazine.
KCOZ. KCOZ. It's time to play Know the Show.
Know the show today, and it's a $20 gift card to go to Federico's Fresh Max. They're downtown San Luis Obispo. 851 Higuera Street at the base of the Wyman. All you have to do is listen to the show every day, and if you know the answer to the question, then you win.
This morning, we need to know what river you would find the Slow Beaver Brigade on. What river would you find the Slow Beaver Brigade on?
It's the revitalization of the beaver, according to Brittany, who's got a new movie, slow film fest called Where There Once Was Water. 805-543-3693. We're going to find the Slow Beaver Brigade. What river are they going to be hanging out in? If you know that, then you know the show. Good luck. Bill. William, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, buddy. Okay. What river are we going to find the Beaver Brigade hanging out in?
I'm going to say the Salinas River.
Yes, you're a winner. That fast, that easy. Congratulations.
Stoking, yeah.
It's a rejuvenation project.
Yeah, some beaver right here in town.
Yes. It's they're
all up and down the river.
Why isn't it called the Atascadero Beaver Brigade, though? I mean, like,
they got something. I never heard of them before.
Technically, if the beavers are in the river,
all of us.
And they're damming up a river that's dry, typically,
it's a dry beaver.
Wouldn't it be the Atascadero Beaver Brigade instead of the Slow Beaver Brigade?
Well, it's a county thing. I think it's, they're a county thing.
Yeah, how many times you drive over the river and there's no river?
Right.
I mean, by definition, the river has water.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Do you think Santa Maria has a Beaver Brigade as well in the Santa Maria River?
I don't know. And like I said when we were talking with Brittany, if you missed it, you can get it on the podcast. It's Jeff and Jeremy in the morning, wherever you get your podcast. It's like, how bad of a beaver do you have to be to get that assignment?
Are you talking about the beavers themselves or the people that are monitoring?
I'm talking about the beavers themselves.
Well,
I mean,
maybe it's the older, the ones just starting out. You want to put them down in the minor leagues.
You want them to practice without water, building the dams?
Them out. Well, yeah. I mean, it's like before you jump out of an airplane, you jump off like a little platform with a parachute to get it down.
There's no water in the Salinas.
Sometimes
at any given time, there is now. Right
today,
this moment.
Right this moment, there is, but not much.
Better hurry.
Yeah,
you can probably jump across it.
Certain areas of it, I'm sure. But I mean, that goes to talking about where we're talking.
I just like the sound of Beaver Brigade.
It sounds intense.
Yeah. It's like Beaver Nation, I guess. So.
Speaking of intense, we were talking earlier about quarter beers. Yeah, that was always intense.
Yeah.
We were talking about, not always intense. It could be in a camper or an RV as well. We were talking earlier about quarter beer night at the Coug, where we went to college, where they would give you quarter beers, but then then
you felt like a big shot. Here's a buck,
Yeah, but
it's on me, But
then if the first person that went pee, then they had to.
Oh, is that
they went back to regular price.
But how could you go pee? Because yes, there was quarter beer when I went to college, and it was shoulder to shoulder. It's like you had to.
Well, and here's the thing: is they would only let a certain amount of people in, and if somebody left, they would
take your spot.
They would $3 a beer.
It would
so normally it's $3 a beer, but it's a quarter a beer until somebody leaves or pees. And they would have football players sitting, like, just frats. Frats would have their football player buddies.
We didn't
would
get
be
that
sitting in front of the door. Now, women could go pee, but the men could not.
Yes.
They would have this. And I remember I forgot that, what it was. And I walked in there to go to the bathroom first. I forgot it was quarter night. And I walked up, and this dude looks at me and he goes, "Can I help you?" And I went, "Yeah, I'm just, you must be in line." He goes, "Bathroom's closed, bro."
I've never heard of this.
And then I looked at it and I realized what it was. I'm like, "Oh, damn! Is it quarter night?" He goes, "Turn around." And I did.
Boy, it sounds real fun.
Yeah.
We never did anything like. Never even heard of that.
So I went outside and peed in the street.
Lawn Boy Kevin writes in.
But then you could go back in or no?
No, I'm kidding.
Okay. Lawn Boy Kevin writes in, and Washington Lawn Boy Kevin writes in, and Washington.
Boy Kevin.
There
you go.
You'll hit it for a rim shot, but you won't hit it when I say his name 5 times.
Lawn Boy Kevin.
He writes in, and apparently San Luis Obispo one-upped Pullman a long time ago when the Shack was open. They did something called Drinking for a Lincoln, where beers were a nickel until somebody peed.
Oh, see, I never heard of this part.
Nickel? 20 beers for $1.
What kind of beer are you serving for a nickel?
It doesn't matter.
We used to have another bar.
It's beer.
There was another bar, Seth, on Wednesday night. It was Mystery Night, and they didn't tell you what the beer was. But it would get cheaper as the night went on. It would start off like around 7 o'clock, be like, I don't know, $6 a pitcher.
Was it warm?
And by 9 o'clock, it was like 50 cents a pitcher, and then it would start going back up. And
by then, who cares?
Everybody had the squirts the next day. I don't know how to say that without saying.
But they had a great
diarrhea.
The runs.
They all had the runs.
I'd take quarter night of the Cougar over Mystery Night at Shakers any day.
Yeah. Or they had.
Or I would
Monday night.
It's probably the same crowd. I can't imagine. It's like, oh, we're not going to quarter
Monday
night.
nights. It was. Remember, Monday nights was 50-cent Lucky Lagers or Schlitz.
Yeah.
Now, wasn't it Lucky? Was that the one that had the Rebus, or that was something else?
And they would run out, and they would totally break every single alcohol control board law, and they would go down to the grocery store and just buy more cases of Lucky Lager or Schmidt.
I remember one time.
And how many complaints did you get?
0.
All right.
They had those bar stool pedestal tables, with the pole and the table.
Oh, yeah.
And we were always play drinking games because it was 50-cent beers. And then the table next to us, we would start stacking all our empties. And then we'd have 6 to 8 of us. And we had this thing.
Badge of honor.
3-4 feet high.
Oh, sure.
3-4 feet wide. And somebody came in the door. We were right by the door and knocked all the beer cans down. I just remember the guys behind the bar were so pissed off. And Jeff and I and everyone were all picking up these cans.
We're
and
laughing.
Okay, you guys are done.
Yeah, they're real good bus job if they're not coming around picking up the empties.
Well, we wouldn't let them.
Yeah.
We'd be like, no, we're working on an art project.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Pyramid.
I got you.
Yeah.
A pyramid.
Imagine the damage you could have done with a pyramid at Drinking for a Lincoln. 20 beers for $1? I would have gotten in there. I am a camel when it comes to being able to hold my
It depends.
stuff. But not
the trick is not to pee. If you pee once, then you start the process.
I want to break the seal.
Yeah, so to speak.
Poll question brought to you by SurfNet Communications. In your opinion, was life easier when we only had landlines? 75% of people are saying no.
Well, what do you mean by easy,
voting.
though? Easy,
what are the other
is that
25?
the word we're using, easy?
That's what it says in the poll question. It says, was life easier when we only had a landline?
Simpler might be a better word.
Yeah, simpler would be a better word.
The linguist wrote it.
Because it wasn't easy.
I would say it was, I think it was easier. Because then you didn't have accountability that
you'd go around the corner and up the stairs and stretch the cord so you'd have a little privacy.
Right.
75% of people think it's easier now that they have a cell phone. And I think that because they took what I said. I made some very good points. It's in the podcast.
What,
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
Email? God.
Do you guys even have landlines? I bet you don't.
Navigate, order food, catch a ride.
Do you have landlines, either of you?
No, we don't.
Me neither. We haven't for years.
Yeah.
Remember calling?
I had one, and I thought it would be great for giving my parents and Jeff, and it was like an emergency thing. But then the damn thing rung
Just
all night
sales.
long with sales and surveys. And
that was the only people that ever call them.
Hold it out. That's what she said. All right, Seth is up next. We'll see you tomorrow.